Hello, this is Pedro Romero coming in with another exclusive player interview. We're moving over to Dota this time, and the player I have here with me today, although not many of you will know who this person is, he has been making some sort of considerable noise within the North American Dota scene. This person is Italiano Gangstar, a member of 5RATFORCESTAFF, who is currently participating in Division 2 of the NA competitive Dota region during the 2021-2022 DPC regular season. And so, Italiano Gangster, thank you so much for accepting this interview. I know that you guys are preparing so much ahead of the restart of the second half in the winter tour. And I first like to start off by asking, how are you doing right now?
How am I doing right now? Well, right now I feel like I'm a little humbled because like I'm kind of realizing that I'm not as good as I think I am, and like even though I have like this like 4-1 result and like the DPC, I personally don't think it's like not good enough yet because I want to get better. Obviously, everyone wants to get better, and I'm just trying to like look at advice from like certain pro players and whatnot. And like for example, I did ask like a player like K1 Hector, like, I'm kind of struggling. What do you think I should do to get better? And he like gave me some tips and whatnot. I'm just trying to like, play pubs and trying to make myself better because that's really important. You could have a team, but like if you become better and better and better, you could actually carry the team because after all, I'm playing the hard carry role, right? That's the point. You need to carry the team. So just like trying to make myself better. I'm like content, but not. I'm like content in the fact that I'm just trying to get better.
It's surprising to hear from you, honestly, because um, as a member of a team that's currently second place in the regular season league table, you'd be psyched. I mean, and so you mentioned discussing with other players from other regions, and so can you elaborate on the sort of pointers they helped you in competing in games?
Mm, like my favorite player like all time, like across like all of Dota, like every region combined, is someone from South America, which is K1 Hector on Beast Coast. And I do like him a lot. I really, just like get to enjoy playing pubs with him. And I asked him a question because I did him like a little bit of a favor, and I asked him simply like, "What do you think are the best 5 heroes on carry?" And I don't want to leak anything,
Mm-hmm.
but he told me this hero, this hero, this hero. So I'm just like playing, trying to get to play that hero over and over because those 5 heroes like it's like very consistent with the meta because the meta is very important, right? You can't play the same hero over and over. Like Tiny was like very popular in TI, but you can't just keep playing Tiny carry now because it got nerfed. So
Mm-hmm.
trying to adjust the changes and trying to, you need to make yourself better and better during each patch, and then you need to reset after each one. But the mechanical skill will always stay, and that's what I need to improve on.
Right, and you mentioned being very content, like rather content, right before the start of the second half in the winter tour. But what is the general vibe of the team? You know, since you guys finished the first half on a very positive note, like I said, finishing in second place of the regular season. And so, what is the general vibe of the team so far during this winter break and right before the start of the second half?
I mean, it's a little weird because like our team is, how do I say, special in a sense, I guess. I'm not saying special as in we're better than everyone, but how we actually act as people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we're very silly, I guess you could say. Like we just have like three silly guys flighting the comms, one serious guy, and one guy that just kind of doesn't talk.
Mm-hmm.
like and we're just like really like disorganized players, but we somehow just like managed to find a strat that we could play or like how we want to play, and we managed to play it against the teams in Division Two. And I'm not trying to be like toxic, but I personally believe that the teams that we have played are not as challenging as I want them to be because like I feel like when I play scrims, there's more diversity. I get to play like teams from South America. I get to play teams from North America. We have like a European team scheduled, and like the scrims are they're very varying. They're like always different. They're like unexpected. Like I expect to do better against this team. I do bad. I do expect to like get 2-0 by this team, but I actually 2-0 them,
Mm-hmm.
for example. So like I don't know. We're just like really unorganized, and we're just trying to get it together.
So like a jumbled mess sort of thing, right?
Yeah, because if you notice, like we've been sort of playing like the same game during the like if you like I feel like our games are kind of like all the same. They don't really feel different for the
Hmm.
official games in Division 2, unless except for KBUS and the cut. But the cut was like a really early game, and that was like honestly the toughest opponent, and we took them on first. So we didn't have like 4 games to play, like 4 series to play prior to prepare for that. So yeah, like only 2 teams were really like different from the other ones.
Yeah, and obviously you guys entered into the DPC as one of the teams that qualified from the open/closed qualifiers. You know, you were part of the many amateur teams that like basically came together in an attempt to reach the DPC. And so to go from forming as that unit to be within top two of Division 2, like have you been surprised? Were you surprised by the team's like meteoric ascent in throughout this winter tour?
Yeah, I am surprised because like I wasn't even planning on making a team. Like our team was literally made in like 2 hours the day before. Like it was like that fast. Like just like 2 hours. Like oh, you want to play? Oh, let's play. Let's play. Let's go. Why not? But like each person on the team that we did invite to each other wasn't just some random player. We actually knew them and knew what they do. So it's not completely random, but you know, and it is kind of lucky. I will be honest with you. It is kind of lucky because there was 2 open qualifier days to go into the closed qualifier. We lost the first game on like the first day or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we got a second chance on the second day, and we faced the same opponent on the second day, but this time was a best of 3. And again, we lost the first game, but then we won 2 games in a row. So fate could have been different, right? We could have met those guys in another best of 1 and just lose. We could have just like lost up.
Yeah.
That's it. No, no more. There's no more team, right? Like we wouldn't be here. But you know, I do think we are kind of lucky. It's like we just, just everything up to this point has kind of been lucky, to be honest. I'm trying to be like humble about it because I don't think like we're like so good that we just deserve to be in Division 1 automatically. Because I feel like we're gonna go to Division 1 and it's gonna be really hard. Like look at some of the teams that are already there. Like Simply Two Base is not doing well. Granted, they played against the top 4 teams,
Mm-hmm.
but we need to like match that. It's really hard.
Well, we gotta rewind to the moment in which the team like came together because you said that they were formed less than 2 hours before the deadline,
Yeah, it was.
and so
Okay, I think it was. I think it was 2 hours. I think it was either 2 hours in the day before the midnight, right? Because like I
yeah.
think it locked at midnight, and we did it like 6 to 9, like 6 to 8 p.m. or something, or it was just the day before that. But it was like basically made in like 2 hours, and we just agreed on it.
So like the calm was like what was like the discussion like because you had to go from communicating within like a couple of people to inviting more people into the team right before the deadline. And so what was that like? What was the communications like in the formation of that team?
I was just asked directly by Nico. Like he said, "You want to play?" I'm like, "Sure, why not?" And then he said, "Oh, we're gonna get Pandego, who was from Division 2 Hustlers, and then we're gonna get Frugas, who was I don't remember exactly what team he was on, but he was definitely on the DPC team at some point in time. And then there was another guy called Tib, who's from like Europe. He was like a French guy,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, this could work. And then they sort of just ghosted us and didn't reply. And I think it's because they got another stack that they think was better. And so it was like, all right, so we're just like 2 guys, like no, there's nothing to do. And then we just randomly get a Tingle King and Bigot as well. And like I know Bigot and I know Tingle King, so it's kind of funny. And I was like, oh, let me get my old friend that I went for the very first division, for the very first DPC, I did try to qualify,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't end up winning. I was close, but I did have a friend of a friend called Overlam, who was just a friend of a guy called Nas that I was friends with, and so we just invited him, and it was basically like it was just like rushed, like we could find whoever we want, and then like we just played, and then we ended up winning. Part luck and part just like making good strats and just playing, I guess.
Literally, you could just basically write this in a script for a movie, man. That's just amazing. Such is the case in North American Dota, right? And I mean, you mentioned qualifying or attempting to qualify for previous DPC splits. You mentioned like trying to qualify last year. You were a member of a couple of teams, 666 and Crimson Mambas. I don't know if I got those names
Mhm.
right.
Yep.
And so yeah,
Yeah.
like how do you view for your progression personally as an individual, like be it inside and outside of the game, from last season until the present day?
Um, hmm. That's a good question. Cause like I feel like a year, like for someone, because here's the thing, right? I only started like being immortal like maybe 2 years ago, right? And like, cause like I always like played Dota as a kid, but like I like just like a bit, but I never really like thought like, oh, I'm gonna like dedicate myself to this. But like, I got a little lucky and I went to immortal, and like the time frame from like going from like 1 month to like 6 months, like compare it for someone like a tier 1 player, right? Like you're not gonna get that much better in 6 months. Like if you're like Arteezy or something, you're not gonna get like twice as better over 6 months, right? That's like something that is built over years. But like when someone is like really bad, me, and then he spends some time in, the rate at which you get better is higher than a tier 1 player, whether you like it or not. But it's a fact. Like you will get better if you're worse, right? That's just like common sense. That's simple. But like 1 year ago, I do think I was a lot worse. Right? There's like no denying it. There's like
Mm-hmm.
no ego. Like 1 year is a lot of time for someone that's like not really uh, relevant at all in the pro circuit. So it's really nice to finally justify something. Like maybe I can do this, right? Just like a little confidence. I do like the DPC system a lot, even though I'm not like an OG player or anything, right? Because it does give a platform where you could do at least something, right? There's like something that you could try,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not too hard, but it's not too easy. So
Mm-hmm. Like following up on that question, I'm pretty sure you've already mentioned this, but you doing as well as you're doing right now, was this something that you always envisioned yourself achieving?
it's something that I would
Like,
like to think I could do. It's something. It's not like there's not the confidence isn't there to say, "Oh, I'm gonna go through the qualifiers and I'm gonna win it." Like it's guaranteed. There's no guarantee in this. It's like there is a little lack of confidence. So when you do achieve it, it does feel better, I guess.
mhm. And like looking forward to the future, as I already mentioned before, you're already on the precipice of promotion for Division One, and so with the team being so close to that goal, do you feel like that sort of added pressure, as the season is winding down and the stakes are gradually rising up?
Mm, I feel like the only pressure that personally as the team we would feel is that like because I believe we have to play 2 more series if I'm not mistaken, right? Because every team has to play each other team, and there's 8 teams in total, so total series, and we played five. So that means we would have to play Felt and Dogchamp. And just as like a unanimous decision on the team, like we're not really like too concerned about Felt, but Team Dogchamp has because we did expect the 2-0 E boys. No offense, but we like threw a little. We threw a little. It happens. But like Dogchamp is someone that is more likely for us to throw against because realistically, I think it's just who throws more that loses, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think like we're very like good players. We're just like kind of like mediocre and whatnot, and like whoever throws more loses. And it's a lot in draft as well, by the way. Like I feel like every team time we lost is just like draft and whatnot, and every time they lost is probably draft as well. So
Right, like take like in consideration of the all the teams that you faced thus far, within Division Two, who do you view as like your biggest competitor? Like without regard for the overall table right now, like who has been your toughest opponent?
I mean, toughest friend, and believe it or not, is best. Also, the best friends was the cut because like we know each other like a lot. Like SMD knows like all the players on our team. He's played with Tingle King before. I know him. I like him. Like there's like we know each other. Like there's no like real like toxic bad blood between us. I feel like maybe just like a little like like a little flaming, like a little joking flaming between like certain plays we do in pubs and whatnot. But yeah, I mean the cut is like a really good team. S&D has spats up his sleeve and whatnot. He has a little bit more experience. I believe he's been in the DPC for three
Ba-
seasons now, so it's like
Basically,
one
like
Division Two.
yeah, like basically the
Yeah,
entire time.
yeah. So like he has a little more experience than us, and honestly, I think honestly winning at least one of the game of them was like it feels good. right? And we didn't even play a single series up until then. So winning that one game felt nice, and it sort of like set the path for like what else we like how we want to play the other teams, right?
Right, even though you guys started off with that loss to the cut, you obviously served as some right footing for the rest of the season. Given that you guys went on to win 4 consecutive series after that, um, and so taking a view towards what has happened thus far in the regular season, what has been both the team and your personal favorite moment of the first half of the winter tour?
Let's see. I think for like maybe 2 or 3 of our players, I think when we won versus the KBUS, I think they really enjoyed winning that because like there was like a little joking going on. Like I think like Bigod messaged I9 and he's like, "Are you ready to lose?" And he's like, "Oh, you're gonna 2-0 me with like the worst team I've ever seen." So like, we 2-1 them. It's not 2-0 at least. Like
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But like, for personally for me, I think the best feeling is I think it's the last game I played actually. I believe it was versus E Boys, and I was playing Sven because that was the game because I don't want to like leak much, but like if you notice, we played a lot of Medusa,
Mm-hmm.
so I haven't had actually a lot of freedom to play many different heroes, and like we picked the Sven hero, and like we didn't like practice it. Like I mean, we played it a little,
Mm-hmm.
but like it's we didn't see it in a single official game, and I finally got to play like a little different hero. Not saying that my hero pool is small, it's just that the strat has worked over and over, so we did it over and over because they let us do it. But they banned the Medusa, I believe, so we couldn't do that strat. So I played Sven, and I just really carried the game. Like it was like like comical how hard I carried that game, and that's like the best feeling as a carry player. So
Um, how do you view yourself like within your specific role compared to the rest of Division Two? Like, how do you like? Do you see yourself as the best overall? Oh, do you see yourself
as
as the best?
carry or as
Yeah.
team?
Uh, per position and player, at position and team.
I think the thing is, I can't really be egotistical about this because I feel like every win I've had, we just did a really strong strat where I play Medusa and I know how to play the hero. And like Medusa's not a flashy hero at all, so you can't really prove much. But my team were really good and they made a lot of space for me, so I was able to hit creeps every single game. And then I said, all right, guys, I'm gonna go down a lane and win us the game. And then we just like basically did that. So I don't think based on DPC I could say I'm better than any of the other carries. To be honest, but the only thing I think I could say is like personally, I think my hero pool is like really big. Not trying to be egotistical, but I think my hero pool is really big. And even though I've not been able to play it because of DPC, and just like I said, based on DPC alone, I can't say I'm better than anyone. But there are other good carry players like that. Dad guy is he's honestly not that bad. SFD is good and whatnot, so I think those guys are okay.
Right, right. As you mentioned before, you've been a part of many teams within the any amateur scene. I mean, as far as you can, as much as you can count, you've played for many teams within many tournaments. For over the past like 2 or 3 years, and so, which teammate has left the biggest impression on you in regards to your career?
Um, You said teammate, by the way, so it can't be like a player that. Okay. So when it comes to the teams, I don't think I've played on a lot of teams compared to other people. It's more like four. Like so, it's the one I'm on right now. Then it was that with Crimson Mambas, and then Triple Six, but that was like for like a week or something. And the fourth one that I don't think you mentioned was a while ago. Although it wasn't impressive, and it was when I was really bad. We um we went to the Division 1 of Omega League NA, right? If you remember that, it was like a Europe thing, but there was still like a small SCA and like NA thing, and like we managed to qualify through that. However, it was through like a collegiate qualifier, so you basically needed a bunch of people from the same college,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if you don't have a bunch of the same people from college, then you can't go in. But we had enough. However, it should be mentioned that we did actually beat someone that is reasonably good, which is Yamsun, right?
Yeah,
So that
son.
was still a little prideful because I felt like I wasn't very good. Well, knowing now I was really bad, and I managed to like actually beat him and go there. And then we got like stumped by every other team, but that's besides the point. But the person that sort of got me to start doing all this, because I'm not trying to make the story like long for no reason, is because that person was on that team, and there was a guy called Stars. He doesn't play Dota anymore because he wants to go for like he wants to be a banker or something. He told me, but he was a really like nice friend. Like he's the one that sort of like got me into like all this. Um, then like he introduced me to like a few people and whatnot, and then like if you introduce yourself to one person, then they could sort of introduce you to another person and whatnot. So like it's like a But that Stars guy, he's a pretty nice guy. It's a shame he stopped playing, but I really liked him, and he was like, he's like the reason why I started playing Pro Dota. So.
Can you say like when, like what year, was it
Um,
that you first started to get to know him?
the reason why I got to know him is because of the school that we were gonna go to. Because I met him in matchmaking, and like we sort of just like added each other and talked, and then we mentioned. Then I asked him just out of the blue, "Oh, what college are you going to?" And it just so happened to be that he's going to the college that I was going to, like thinking of attending to, which I ended up attending. But I think that was okay. So I think it's 2019, if I'm not mistaken. Like, so it's like a late 2019,
Mm-hmm.
which means that's when I first like got Immortal,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I used to be 2K MMR, just so you
Yeah.
know. Like, I was like literally 2K MMR, and I'm just saying right now to like whoever watches this, like you can become good. Like, whether it's possible. Like, this is not a gimmick. I was 2K MMR. Little Nick was like at 500 MMR. Like, it's possible. If you just like, you just need to put a lot of time into it. That's the thing. And when you're a kid, you have a lot of time. So that's why, maybe that's why we're both like getting rank and whatnot. But yeah, so 2019, I met him, which means I believe in 2020 is when I think 2020 is when Omega League came, and that was like my first qualification for something. And then there was also the DPC. So around like 2020, I was like, don't get me wrong, I was bad, right? I was like much worse than I am right now back then. But that's when it starting. Like you're like, oh, this is nice. Like I'm like playing pubs and like, oh look, because like when you're like bad and like you see Sumail on like a team and you're like, oh my god, this is like so cool, like this guy's like really good, and like I'm finally playing with him. Not that it's like really hard to play with him, it's just
Mm-hmm.
that you need to get like you could even be like rank 1000 get into his game sometimes. That's at least that's when I remember when I got into his game. But yeah, so like 2020 is like when I started thinking about it.
Like the true start of Italiano Gangster is what it is, thanks to Yamsung. So big ups to Yamsung for starting off the career of this fine gentleman. Um, Italiano Gangster. I think that about wraps up all of my questions. Thank you so much. But I have one thing. I believe I have one more thing to ask, and that is your name. I mean, like, why did you start? Why did you call yourself Italiano Gangster? Are you really Italian?
No. Yeah, it's like the biggest disappointment when people ask am I Italian, but I'm not. Cause So first, when I was like thinking, like when I needed to make like insert a name, I did like it was like some like $500 like e-post thing.
Mm-hmm.
My first name was actually originally Malopai, which actually I'm still referred to in the Discord by my current teammates because that's when they also first met me. But when I was playing matchmaking, I had my name as what I have now, Italiano Gangstar. And what was funny about it is like I was really new, so like people didn't really know who I was. And when you have someone on the mic that's like cracking jokes, like because like Dota players are kind of boring, right? They're kind of boring. Like you play pub, they're like so like toxic and focused. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm also toxic sometimes. I'm not gonna. I'm guilty. I'm guilty. The game is really hard. It makes people toxic and whatnot. Uh, but I was like a little rowdy on the mic, and then this is a true story, by the way. Like people just started copying my name. They just literally just started copying my name. Like it was like weird. Like you wake up, you queue Dota, and then you see CCC with your name. And it's like, what's this all about? And like CCC has my name, Bulba has my name. It was like only for like 2 days or something, but it was like really funny, and I decided to just keep it because like if I could make them change their name to my name,
Yeah.
keep it, right? It's a cool name and whatnot, so I just kept it.
Yeah, man, Italiano Gangster, a man of many names. I mean, I look into your profiles and other like statistical websites. You also can name yourself MMR Heister on Open Dota, V1 on Dota Buff, Stone Fury on Spectral, I mean, that's like a
Yeah.
Japanese word. So like, and also the Japanese character for Yami, like darkness. And so you're
Yeah, I mean, we're Dota players. We're like edgy. We put like. I mean, it's just how it is. Like you go look at like European teams, and you can look at their profiles, and like everyone wants to have like an anime profile picture and name, and they like want to be cool. Like go look at Yatsu or something. Like
yeah.
it's just like a Dota thing. Like we're like stupid. We're just like we just change our name every other like 5 days because we have like ADHD or something. You know, it's just the culture, I guess.
And I prefer to use my like just one name and then stick with it for like every other platform. So, but you like to be different. I mean, I understand, and so yeah, like that's the story of how Italiano Gangster's name was founded. And so, with that said, Italiano Gangster, thank you so much for taking the time to doing this interview. I really appreciate it. Do you have like any final words to share? Any shout outs you want to give, or anything of that nature?
I mean, obviously, shout out to your team because like, who doesn't do that, right? Because I love those guys. But I don't know. I feel like just like anyone that like plays in pubs with me, I'm sorry, but like pubs make me really bad. So like, just like no hard feelings. I Dota just makes me like the worst person I've ever been. I'm just like a nice person, but like Dota is like the most inhuman like environment that I've ever like taken a part of. So like just positive vibes, I guess.
With one of the strangest promotions for Dota 2 I've ever heard. That has been Italiano Gangster. Once again, thank you so much. I've been Pedro Romero. Thank you so much for watching this interview. And with that said, I'll see you all in the next one. Take care, everyone.
Goodbye.